Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm Heather O'Neill. I am a Reiki Master Teacher. I am an energy alignment coach. I like to talk all things energy, as we are all energetic beings, and how that affects our life, our health, our well-being, our relationships, what we attract in life, all of that good stuff. And I am joined again by my friend Ruth Ratliff, who is a voice and vibrational sound therapist and who does some amazing work. She and I have traded sessions before and just had some really incredible, magical experiences with each other's work.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks for asking me again, by the way, too. I really appreciate it. I love having these conversations, and that's what sort of started the ball rolling with your fabulous channel. And now this has been going on for a year, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been in this sound, energy, healing, voice, vibration thing for, I'm sure this is not my first time on the planet, but really it started with my voice. I'm a singer. I've been a performer, a singer for most of my life, taught voice for 20 years. And I just found, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt for myself that my healing was absolutely precipitated and fostered by the relationship that I had with my own voice and music and sharing my voice and performing. And I saw that happening also with my students. It was more than just learning, how to sing in a more healthy way or sing better. It was more about how they were more confident. They would take more risks. They just felt better about themselves. And I saw this over and over and over again over 20 years. It seemed like a natural progression for me to go into the sound therapy arena and get my certification in order to use my voice, to use sound vibration as a mode for healing and transformation, because I don't think you can have transformation without healing, and vice versa. I think they are connected, because as human beings, as a soul and a physical body, we have, if you believe in reincarnation or not, but even just being here in a physical body, we know that there's something inside of us that leaves the body when we pass on. So there is energy. But even just from that standpoint, from this one lifetime, there's so much that we take on. There's so much that is put upon us. There's so many ideas that are not ours, that we make our truth. And I feel sound has the capacity to actually release those, to shift your perception, your self-perception, and to give you a much greater awareness of, well, gosh, like maybe that wasn't mine, and it does it in a very subtle way sometimes. It's fascinating to me what my clients will tell me after a sound therapy session or a sound bath. They think of things they haven't thought about in decades, and then all of a sudden they say it's like it's gone. It feels like energy left. So that's a bit of a long explanation, but so this is it's a transitional science. I've heard I borrowed that. I love that, because it is, in that we don't really have the exact science at this point, the knowledge to really explain what exactly happens. We're basing it on our somewhat limited knowledge of how the universe works.
But you made a really, really good point in there that I want to touch on, because you said, what I heard was just the point of that there's healing to be done, and sometimes we don't necessarily realize there's healing to be done, well, people might think because they don't have a known illness or pain or something like that, or even emotional pain, that there isn't healing to be done.
Right.
And there's a theme that's been coming up the last couple of episodes, and you were touching upon it too, just that, when you're working vibrationally with people and something leaves their body, energy leaves their body, that everything is not our own. I talk about that from the standpoint of being an empath because we are so sensitive that we're carrying around other people's energy. And I talk about that standpoint from an energy worker. And what's been coming up lately too is that other lifetimes and ancestral stuff comes in that we carry. It's said we carry about 7 generations worth of ancestral energetics of it, but that it is part of the whole journey that we're on. Like you said, from the soul perspective, if we're coming here to maybe heal certain patterns or belief systems or things that we've carried around, I consider that healing, right?
Oh,
So,
yes. Yes, oh, absolutely. Um, and it's interesting because, they talk a lot today about triggers. We all need to be very aware of those triggers because they're trying to tell us something. And generally, what they are, I think a lot of times you talk about the ancestral influences. I believe that those can be, the triggers can be from those ancestral influences, or even, gosh, your parents or your ancestors, I guess, first generation. But so much of what we react to and out of in this lifetime is so ingrained in us from, I think, from age birth to 7 years. I mean, at 7, you're cooked, they say. That's it. You have like, once you reach age 7, you have all of the traits that you're going to carry throughout the rest of your life. And not only traits, but the overlays and the inaccurate truths and thoughts and archetypes that also affect us. So to be so aware of that, it takes quite a bit of courage. I think it takes courage. I think it takes certainly a willingness to, instead of just getting pissed off at my husband because he's doing XYZ again, stop. Be quiet. Be still. Put your hand where you feel that anger or that frustration. A lot of times it's in my solar plexus. And put your hand there and just breathe into that and listen. Just feel it. Just feel it. Because what you're doing, you're giving it attention that it craves, that it needs, because it's there for a reason. It's telling you something. That's the healing. It can be, as you say, just as simple as somebody annoying you, over and over again, right? But your body is trying to tell you, okay, this is something that you need to pay attention to.
yeah, and
And
you're right. The healing is easy because
right.
not to invalidate major healing, but it's let me rephrase that. It's easier sometimes than we think it's going to be, because sometimes it's recognizing that, allowing yourself to feel it, allowing it to pass through, making a different choice, right? Because what we don't realize is that a lot of the times we're trying to resist it or not feel it or push it away, and
Yes.
we resist persists. It's true, and then it's just stuck somewhere in your body and you're just not paying attention.
Right, and that's where when I bring in the sound therapy, especially with clients um, who have those recurrent feelings, I will say, let's use your voice. What does that feeling sound like? Can you make that sound? And even if you can't go even that far into it, just make a sound, express it. The frustration. And it works. I've talked to you about this before, how I will, that's been so wonderfully clearing for me to just even go outside in the bare feet and ground and just make sound. Like I'll stand by a tree, I have a very big backyard with not too many neighbors, so that's a good thing that I can do that. But even if you do it in your house, in your bedroom, in your bathroom, just people don't realize how accessible their voices are, how easy the healing can be. It's clearing. It's like keeping yourself clear. And when you do that over and over again, if you get into a ritual of, say, just making sound in the shower, you're building resilience. You're developing that heart-brain coherence. You're connecting the two hemispheres of your brain, so you can get that heart-brain coherence to be able to get more focus and creativity and problem solving. And the biggest thing, as I said, is the ability to ride the roller coaster of life with some equanimity and grace.
Yes. Yeah, and sound healing in and of itself excites me to no end because it's about vibration. And the voice, it's like, our bodies were made to heal, and that's using our own body. It's a technique. Or it's natural even. Probably shouldn't even call it a technique. I should call it a tool that's so natural to use our voice in that way, and the throat chakra is like the chakra. It's the creative center of the body. Solar plexus energy is also creative energy. It's life force energy. But the throat chakra is everything. All the energy in the body. When you talk from a human design standpoint, coming through the crown and coming through the root chakra, all this pressurized energy is meant to come and culminate in the throat center, because this is where we manifest from. And so it's like this built-in tool. And and I'm thinking, I'm imagining, as you're talking about, going out in the backyard and just making sound, or just singing, or using your voice, or toning, or whatever you're doing, that you inevitably find your own tone. Like, I would imagine that there's a note or something, and I got in the habit of this for a while. Now I'm getting excited because I want to do this again, to where you find your own tone, to where you find a note that somehow is like congruent with your own essence, or I don't know. And making those sounds or those tones, it's almost like you tune yourself into alignment. Sometimes on your Instagram, you'll just have a bowl for, like, it's not even long, and you'll be playing the bowl, and I stop and I close my eyes and I listen for a minute, and I feel that move through me. And I whenever if I feel like I'm fighting something, or I'm run down or something like that, I'll hop on like binaural beats, and there's all the different frequencies that are there, and they all tell you, like, there's one even for fighting virus and bacteria, and then there's some for anxiety, and there's just all different frequencies for healing. And that's it. There's different frequencies for healing, and these are things that unfortunately, I think, have been known in the past, and have been hidden from us, to move into a different money making type of model, which banks on sick people. But that there, I mean, it's really amazing that there is sound and frequency healing, and it really does heal. I mean, I've heard people tell stories of things that have been healed from sound and from frequency.
I got familiar with a modality called bioacoustics, similar to Sherry Edwards' work. And what it is it's on the premise that your voice is literally you. It is a holographic representation of you. And I went to a practitioner a number of years back, and she basically has you reciting something into a microphone connected to a computer that spits out a graph. And the graph has highs and lows like any other graph. And those are representative of what they call frequency-based biomarkers. Sounds somewhat familiar, right? And they're where you are out of balance with the subtle frequencies in your body. So what was really cool and very illuminating for me and affirming was that I had had blood work done maybe a few months before that, and many of those markers, those biomarkers, matched my blood work. So there's so much more to this, and to sound. And yes, they treat you with sound. They treat you with tone, to get those frequencies, line them up. And humming, or even toning, it basically creates a high vibe condition in your nasopharynx, in your nose area. And viruses, pathogens, and diseases cannot thrive over 58 hertz. So when you hum, our baseline frequency of our bodies are somewhere around 62. If you hum and you kick that up, you're really going to give your immune system a boost, and you're going to you're going to basically create an inhospitable environment.
Amazing. It's so
It is
amazing.
amazing.
We were
And
talking about last time, right? Cymatics, and that is just so fascinating to me. And when you look at some of these incredible designs that sound makes with the, what's the one where there's the plate of salt and they're playing the beats under it, and I mean these shapes, these beautiful geometric
right,
patterns. I mean, it's just incredible.
it
So,
is. Yeah.
everything having that basis of geometric patterns, there's something there. There's something to that.
What's going on there, right? Yeah, each frequency makes a specific pattern. People are fascinated with sacred geometry now, and there's a reason for that because we are sacred geometry. We are crystalline beings of sacred geometry and sound and vibration. Everything is. I mean, you look at it's a framework, right? Feel like that's, you look at the nature, the beautiful shapes. You see some of my shapes on the wall, and I feel almost like it's a blueprint for life. Is this sacred geometry, like it's like part of the universe. It's like from our DNA, the spiral of our DNA, to the spiral of our galaxy. It is constant throughout the whole universe.
Also, I feel like, our bodies, like we were created to be able to live on this particular earth, and the earth is so much water, and our bodies are able to live and survive on this planet. So there's something going on that's some kind of patterning, and you can see the geometric patterns in nature. You can you know
Right.
you can see these things with our own eye, and it's it feels good too, because especially right now, in the past couple of years, things have been very chaotic, and it just reminds you that there is somewhere on some level order, the same way like you can sit down and meditate, or do things to align your energy. Like, there
Yeah.
are respites from it, and they're necessary, and there are ways to put yourself at the eye of the storm too, to where you're not being swept up in all of the major chaos on a regular basis. So
No, it's not necessary. And yes, you absolutely have accessible tools. You go on YouTube and listen to, like you say, some tones, some binaural beats are wonderful. I like HemiSync. I love, if you've ever heard of them, they're really great. They've been around for a very, very long time. And or just do like a low sound toning, or ooh. You'd be amazed at how much, well, you get relief. You just get relief. And it's not that you always want to run away from those feelings, because those feelings are trying to tell you something, but sometimes you just need to kind of chill. you know
yes.
and you don't know how, but there are tools. There absolutely are tools that you can use. And you say try different modalities. I love Reiki's really going up in popularity. That's all energy work. That's all frequency and vibration. Acupuncture. I'm going to an acupuncture appointment in a few days. That's all energy. Even massage. That's energy. It's the person's energy. We are beings of energy and vibration. So why would we not treat the body with that which it recognizes to be itself? Why would we not do that?
Well said. Yeah, well said. Absolutely well said. And what about, like, what would you say to somebody then? So they're like, all right, this is great. I want to start toning. I feel a little weird. Or I want to start making noise. Or like, where do I even start? I know you just gave an example there, but like, would you say to somebody, just, maybe like tone the vowels or something? Or like, what's just a good, quick little exercise or something for someone to
Sure.
start getting comfortable with it?
I just tell them to hum. Humming is very, we all hum. And I say do it in the shower generally, because if you want to start doing a practice, I say to piggyback it on something that you do every day. So that's what I'll build into that, into the shower or in somehow, putting on your makeup, humming, whatever. Humming is wonderful. You don't have to, do any complex mantra, right off the bat. Oh, I can't do all those. Or even the vowel sounds. Although vowel sounds are very common. Primal sounds is very common because we make these sounds all the time. Ow! That's like you bang your toe. That's a vowel sound. It's also a primal sound. It hooks into the old brain. It elicits an old brain response, which is very reflexive and healing. And it's like it hooks into those free sounds that you made as a baby before you had all the shit piled on top of you saying that you shouldn't be making sound, you know. Uh, so those sounds are very you just ah 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 yeah, and by all means, you don't need to do it in front of anybody. Find a private space where you can be a little free with your voice. But the more you can stretch what you think is possible with your voice, given that, remember what we said before, your voice is you. It literally is a holographic representation of you. It is your soul's frequency in the physical. Given that, the more you can stretch your voice into these other possibilities of what you think you could do with your voice, the more you will expand and stretch.
And you said something that was I think a good point to make too for people that a lot of us probably have stuff excuse me in our lives, in our backgrounds, where we were either shut down or told to be quiet, or cut
Yeah.
off or something like that, to where we have unconsciously quieted ourselves or even closed parts of our throat chakra. And so this is a really it's a good opportunity to give yourself permission to, and like you said, all right, you don't have to be in front of other people, but do it on your own and give yourself that permission. And even we're talking about healing things we don't even realize are there. To me, that'll loosen up and get out some of that stuff. I think we all have that. Again, Susan was telling a story about that the other day too, where her father, she was talking away in the car, and her father told her when she was very young to be quiet. And and what some of these, you and I are talking about, birth to 7 and these things that happen to us, and we're carrying around a lot of unconscious programming. And probably a lot of us have some unconscious stories around our voice. And that goes beyond just people who feel like they can't sing. And I know I know you're telling anybody this isn't about singing. This is
No.
about making sound with your voice. So
No,
um,
but that's a symptom of it, is feeling, terrified to sing, to speak in front of people. Not liking the sound of your own voice also is a throat chakra imbalance as well. But yeah, it can be something really simple, like somebody, like you say, your father, a parent, a caregiver, just, saying, oh, just be quiet, and because we tell little kids that all the time without even thinking of, but you make that your truth. You're right. Then you're cutting off, you're splintering off this beautiful, incredible, creative, expressive aspect of ourselves. You're cutting it up, and you're, oh no, can't do that, no, can't do that, and it becomes, it's a fraction of what we truly are, what we truly can how we can show up in the world, in life.
yeah, yeah. It's beautiful stuff, and your work is amazing, and I'm just so glad that you are just blooming and blossoming and into all these beautiful grand way that you're embracing your gift. And what you have is most definitely a gift. But before we get to that, is there anything you want to close with, or any extra takeaways you want to give to people, or anything before we close?
I guess the biggest thing I would say, because I'm in this one modality, even though I feel like it can branch out into different areas, but just in general, to stay open. Try to just be aware of where you are shutting yourself down from trying new things, even if it's just making funny, silly sounds by yourself. Where are you shutting yourself off? Where are you shutting yourself down? And what is it costing you
Yeah.
when we shut ourselves down? So and it just be open to trying new things, even if it's a new modality. Be open, because there is so much more to who we are than we know.
Absolutely. And that's a great question too to leave people with, because sometimes we don't ask ourselves that. Like we don't prioritize self-care.
Yeah.
We'll go and spend money on everybody else or on frivolous things and then say, well, I don't have the money to go try this session, but because it costs too much. But really the real question is, what is it costing you to not be connected with yourself, to not practice self-care, to not honor yourself the way you honor other people that you love?
I guess what just came to me was that I feel very grateful to be here on earth doing this work at this point, because I think that we are headed for something really wonderful. And that there's a phrase called breakdown, breakthrough that I took from the Landmark Forum, because I truly believe that there has to be a breakdown of the old paradigms in order to allow the new. So I feel like we are the phoenix rising from the ashes, truly.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming on today. Namaste.
Thank you, Heather, so much.